JJ with JJK.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Draw Every Day with JJK. This week we are talking about School Lunch Hero Day, sharing our appreciation for all of those school lunches that are getting served all across the country. And also, since we're talking about lunch ladies, I'm talking about my lunch lady books, and I'm teaching you this week the steps I take from having an idea and how to turn that idea into a book. So day one, we talked about brainstorming. Day two, we talked about the story mountain. Day three, we talked about scripting. So what comes next? Well, next up, I would lay out the book. What that means is however many pages I have in the book, I'll make that many rectangles to represent each page to visually figure out how the story is going to unfold. I'll show you what I mean. So the Lunch Lady books are 96 pages long. And what I would do is I would make as many squares and rectangles as there will be in the book. I'm not going to make all 96 now, but enough to show you what it means to lay out a book. You may be asking yourself, why did Jarrett just draw one page here for the very beginning? Well, that's because when you're printing books, the way books get printed is that the first page and the last page are often printed on the same piece of paper. So I'm going to number these now. 1, 2, 3,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
22, 23, and so on and so forth. Now notice, the odd numbers will always be on the right-hand side. So as you're laying out the book, if there's ever a time in which you have an even number on the right-hand side, you're going to have to double check your math because something got messed up along the way. Now, I would have my script and I would try to figure out how I break that script down into the pages. And I'm going to figure out what kind of shapes I'm going to use for the panels. I have to concern myself with the readability. And these are tiny little sketches. They're called thumbnail sketches. And in these thumbnail sketches, I'll make note of what dialogue will go where, how the characters will fit into those word balloons. So I'm not adding a lot of detail. It's very quick thinking sort of work. I can very easily make changes if I want to. And that is what it means to lay out a book. So I would have my manuscript just next to me, making note of where the dialogue is going to fit. Something that's very important as I'm trying to sort out the flow is the magic of the page turn. And so there's a rhythm as a graphic novelist that I create in which I want the reader to be left on a cliffhanger almost every single time we turn the page. So I'll show you what I mean with Lunch Lady and the Cyborg Substitute. Okay, check this out. There is a scene in which Lunch Lady and Betty are going to go back to their secret headquarters. So look what I did here. They're talking about the new substitute teacher and how something seems suspicious. I introduce the custodian character. Betty explains that she has a new gadget for Lunch Lady, and they head over to the refrigerator, do a secret combination. The refrigerator moves to reveal a secret door. Now, I don't reveal what's on the other side of that secret door here. I make you turn the page to find out. So there are a few things I did there. I made you turn the page, but also look at the difference in the layout. Here, I have a number of small panels. These are smaller, everyday conversational moments. So small moments have small pictures. But this is a big moment because we're revealing their secret headquarters for the first time. And so big moments deserve big pictures. I also let the art go to the edge of the page, and that is called a bleed. Here we have borders. This is a double page spread that bleeds to the edge of the page. Another moment in which I have a hand on the doorknob moment, and that's what I call them. I call them the hand on the doorknob moment, where the character is perhaps looking for a monster and they have the hand on the doorway of a broken down shed, like here. Lunch Lady is approaching the shed at the pool. She is looking for the monster. Let's see what's behind door number 1, she thinks to herself. Now, I don't reveal if there's a monster here. I make the reader turn the page. And sure enough, there is a monster there. And it's a big moment of the story. And there's a lot of action. So I allowed this scene to be a double page spread that bleeds off of the edge of the page. This would not be as effective had I drawn a small panel here with the monster jumping out. So I created suspense, and the physical action of turning the page reveals what's on the other side. So I keep that in mind as I am laying out the story. After I lay out the story, next I create the sketches. I will share some sketches from my archives here. This is from LL number 3, which is Lunch Lady and the Author Visit Vendetta. And these were the sketches that I submitted to my editor. And as you see, I have some post-it notes throughout, probably from when I was creating the artwork for the book. So these are the original pencil sketches I created for that book. Fairly loose, but enough detail so that I can effectively communicate to my editor what is happening in the story. And we go over these sketches and I get notes and I have to make revises and make changes if there's anything that is not clear in the story. Now, after I create all of the sketches, then I have to create the finished artwork. Here are a few examples of finished artwork from some Lunch Lady books. This is page 47 of Lunch Lady and the Cyborg Substitute. Let me pull it up in the actual book so you can compare the finished line art with what you saw printed in the book. And as you can see, I draw the originals much larger than what they'll look when they get printed in the book. Now, of course, you see these yellows here. Those yellows and grayscales were added digitally, meaning I'd scan this artwork into the computer, and in Photoshop, I would lay out these yellows. And I'll probably give instructions on how I create art digitally in a future lesson, but that's a whole other can of worms. That would be like a whole week's worth of lessons. Now, notice here, if you look closely, I use blue pencils. That's called non-photo blue. So you often see me erasing my pencil marks when I'm making art here. I don't often work in graphite. So, like that, what you know is a traditional pencil. I use non-photo blue. So when the computer scans this in, the computer cannot see those pencil marks. And I just get that black ink scanned into the computer. And then in Photoshop, I add the color. Now let's take a moment and let's check in with the pugs for some pug cam. All right, well, thank you, pugs. I'm going to set this artwork aside. I don't want to get any paint spilled on that. That's some important artwork of mine. I'll put these books aside here, and I'm going to draw some more pictures for you. We're celebrating the school lunch ladies and school lunch dudes all across the country who are continuing to feed our families. And Friday is School Lunch Hero Day. Now, I've introduced you to characters in the book, but I'm going to draw some other lunch lady characters that I invented to help celebrate School Lunch Hero Day. Because Lunch Lady and Betty were actual lunch ladies that I had as a kid, they kind of look like them. But of course, there are so many lunch ladies and lunch dudes all across the country. And I drew some more characters to be more reflective of all of those hard workers we have in our school cafeteria. So why don't I draw a few of them for you now? And there you have them, just some of our lunch heroes. So I would love to know what your school lunch hero looks like. Draw a picture, and I'd love to see it, so you can ask your grown-ups. Grown-ups, please send in any artwork you're making to celebrate School Lunch Hero Day via my website, studiojjk.com. We will lift this group up and let them know how much we appreciate what they are doing for us all the time, but especially now. Well, let's close out the show with some family draw time.
Family draw time!
Well,
Hi.
Zoe, welcome back to the show. And everyone, welcome Zoe back. Okay, so we are going to draw some food characters. We're going to collaborate on some fruits and vegetable characters that you could create and put on thank you cards. So I'll draw a vegetable, Zoe will draw a fruit, and then we'll swap and we're going to add faces on them. Okay, wait. What did I just say? Am I doing a fruit or a vegetable?
You're doing a vegetable.
Okay, I've got dad brain right now. I'll do a vegetable, you draw a fruit, and then we'll exchange. Okay. All right, so I do broccoli and you do grapes. Okay, so what?
Give you a hard one.
There we go. Let's see. Aww,
It's a
he's
baby
so
broccoli.
cute. He's so cute.
As a
Okay.
baker would say to
Let's swap. Let's change colors. You take a green, I'll take a red, and now you draw a vegetable, and I'll draw a fruit. Is that a cut up cucumber? Nice. And here's a strawberry. Let's see here. So I have the little top, his little hats off to you. Awesome. Well, you all can make some great food characters to thank your lunch teams. We want to thank you for watching. Check out the awesome artwork that came in. Grown-ups, send your artwork from your kids in via my website, studiojjk.com. Get ready for School Lunch Hero Day and keep drawing. Bye.
Please click like and subscribe and keep drawing. See you soon.